Talk with Bruce DePoint.
Hi, everybody. Welcome in. It is 11 o'clock on this Friday, and it is great to have you with us today. This is a special Blizzard of 2016 edition of News Talk. As I say, it is great to have you along. Today's show backs up to special ABC 7 News Channel 8 coverage that begins live at noon and will take you through this massive weather event around the clock. Also, we'll talk live with Prince George's executive, Rashern Baker, in just a moment. But first, meteorologist Eileen Whalen here with a look at the timing of all this wet weather. Hi, Eileen.
Hey, Bruce. You know, the snow is already starting to knock on our door, but look at how impressive our satellite radar composite looks. So we've already got the snow moving through central Virginia, starting to work its way close to home. But the reason I wanted to show you this picture is the area of low pressure moving out of Alabama and into Georgia. And what's going to happen is the storm center itself will be rapidly intensifying off the Carolina coast and will be moving just along the eastern seaboard. But not only are we going to have the heavy snow, but also some very strong winds. I want to show you live Doppler because the snow already looks as it's falling in Fredericksburg, but I've been checking the observations. Still no snow being reported in Fredericksburg or southern Maryland. The air is so dry, so even if we start to see a little of the blue on the map, it may just be virga. It may just be evaporating before it hits the ground. However, Charlottesville already getting that snow. So let's talk more about that timing of when you will start to see snow at your house. So for those of you in Harrisonburg and Charlottesville already seeing that snow, but for us getting closer to the D.C. metro area, timing right after lunchtime between 1 and 3 o'clock, the snow developing from south to north and then up the I-95 corridor through Baltimore from 3 until 5. The D.C. metro area under a blizzard warning starting at 3 this afternoon and going through 6 a.m. Sunday. Guys, we're talking about a 36-hour window of not only heavy snow but also very strong winds, which will lead to the blizzard conditions. The winter storm warning off to the west, but still look at these totals: 20 to 30 inches of snow. 15 to 20 as you get east of I-95. Little bit of some mixing possible along the Virginia Tidewater and also into extreme southern Maryland. This will be a historic storm for us, though. Some of the top snowstorms in D.C., only about 17 to 20 inches. And I say only because we could be talking potentially, by the time all of this is over, nearly 3 feet of snow. Bruce, I am still trying to wrap my mind around all of this, but I'll be joining you on set in a few minutes. But for now, back over to you.
Yeah, this is one we're going to be talking about for a very long time to come, and we'll chat with you more in just a couple of moments, Eileen. Thank you very much. The region is hunkering down in preparation for the blizzard of 2016, and officials are warning the public to be prepared and to be smart in the coming days. Prince George's County Executive Rashern Baker joins us now live on the Newsline. Mr. Baker, thank you very much for your time. Good to have you with you. Good to have you with us. I'm sure you and your team are busy getting ready.
We are indeed, Bruce. Thank you for having me on the show. Eileen just scared me, though, I have to tell you, talking about all the snow. But we are prepared for it, and in fact, we'll be doing a press conference at our Emergency Operations Center at 12:30. But the best advice that your folks have been giving people is to, get indoors now. If you don't need to be out on the road, then don't be out on the road. Get prepared. It's going to be a long haul this weekend.
What is your team preparing for? What makes you and the heads of your various agencies the most nervous?
Hey, one, we're prepared for a lot of snow and for the roads to be really bad out there. And quite honestly, we're preparing for the fact that we may have outages throughout the 500 square miles of Prince George's County. But, we've dealt with these emergencies before at our Emergency Operations Center, which opened at noon today and will be fully staffed. We've got people from our Public Safety Office. We've got people from our Health Department, Social Services. All of our agencies are there, and we're prepared for it. We've pre-treated the roads, and we've got 350, trucks on standby, ready to go and plow the streets. But the thing that makes us the most nervous is probably what makes everyone nervous, and that is, in order for these men and women to do their job, we need to have people off the streets once the snow starts falling and in their house, so the plows can do what they need to do. so they're not emergencies where our police officers and firefighters have to go out and respond. So the main thing is for people to get off the road once the snow starts coming down. It's for real. This is not a drill.
And there's still a window of time. There's still a couple hours for people to do things in terms of their personal preparation, their family preparation that maybe they, in the busyness of the week, they weren't able to get to yet. There's still a little bit of time to maybe go to a neighborhood market or someplace, hopefully that doesn't involve too much time out on the road, because we know that federal employees, where it's 11:05 now, some of them are on the road heading home now. Others will be leaving in the next hour or two. So there's going to be a very early rush hour here in the Washington area, potentially. There's a window of opportunity still for people to maybe to get some batteries or do other things, prescriptions, food, water, things that might be very useful in the next 72 hours.
Exactly. Water is going to be very important. Make sure you get the batteries for your flashlights. No candles, as Eileen said. We want you to be prepared. Prince George's County government will be closing at 12:30, so I know federal is closing at 12. Ours would be at 12:30. Make those last-minute, things you need to get from the stores and then get home. The other thing I'd like to say, Bruce, and it's very important, is that we check on our neighbors, especially our elderly neighbors. Make sure they're prepared. Make sure there's a plan of action for those folks. Our social services and family services have done the best that they can to make sure we've gotten the people who we give meals to. We made sure we delivered those yesterday so that, folks are prepared. But medication, I know I made a run to CVS this morning to make sure I had the medication we need in the house. We advise others to do that. This is going to be a long weekend and possibly until Monday morning.
And there is, as you say, an opportunity and maybe even a responsibility for folks to be a little proactive. If there's someone in the neighborhood who struggles with mobility or other issues, to check on them, be a good neighbor, call or knock on the door and say, hey, can I help you in some way? That might be a really welcome outreach, particularly as we get deep into this.
That is absolutely correct. And we tell people, especially those in the county, you can go to the Prince George's County website where we're giving alerts on what's going on. Our 311 operation will be in service, so if you have non-emergency questions, you can call 311. We want to make sure that the 911 is open for those emergency calls that happen during this. But the main thing is do all the things you need to do now, and then go in your house and let our men and women who are out there do their jobs and making the roads safe for you.
Lastly, before we let you go, and we appreciate so much, as always, your time, Rushern Baker, how the Metro's decision to end all transit service tonight. I mean, there's going to be no subway tomorrow. There's going to be no subway service on Sunday. In the past, when we've had even big snow events, they've kept the underground stations open on the theory that if there's no snow on the tracks, why can't we service the core, the central part of the Metro system? Learning more about it, I understand the balance, the many considerations they went through in reaching that final decision. What's your reaction?
Well, our reaction is that certainly we want the men and women at Metro to be safe, too, and we understand they have to make these decisions. We're looking more at Sunday when this hopefully should end and we can start clearing it. Clearly, if we want people out there, we would prefer they take Metro as opposed to driving their cars. But the one thing we were doing yesterday when I was in our Department of Public Works going through the rounds, we knew that, the Metro system and the bus system for us in the county would be closing down, and we timed our closing of the bus to mirror what was going on with MATA. For the first couple of days, we just want to make sure people are safe. But we would prefer if, I think Metro will look at it around Sunday to see if, in fact, there's an opportunity for them to open it up even on a limited basis.
Prince George's County Executive Rushern Baker, he and his team and of course all the localities and the district, D.C., Maryland, Virginia, everyone getting ready now for what we think is going to be a really historic storm. I know we'll be talking with you again. You have your event coming up at 12:30. Thanks very much for speaking with us now.
Thank you, Bruce, and you be safe also.
I'll do my best, and we'll talk with you again soon. Prince George's County Executive for Sharon Baker, meteorologist Eileen Whalen rejoining us now on set. This is remarkable. For those of us here in the D.C. metro region, we haven't seen a flake of snow yet, and yet it's been a fascinating process to watch just over the last couple days to this point because of the way the differing models, which are often really pointing in different directions, they came together and were in broad alignment very early, which I guess ramps up the confidence that people like you have when you talk about what we can expect.
Exactly. I've had a lot of people still ask me, is this snowstorm really going to happen? And I can say with full confidence, this storm is and will happen, and it will be historic. We are going to see not only extremely high snowfall totals, but what makes this even worse are the incredibly strong winds, gusts 40, 50 miles an hour, as the center of the storm moves off the coast late tonight and early tomorrow morning. But just as you had mentioned, I mean, I've only been doing this for 6 years or so, but to see the computer guidance in so much agreement since this past weekend is something that I've never seen. And Chief Meteorologist Doug Hill and I were chatting the other day, and we were the whole Stormwatch 7 weather team was commenting on that same notion that this is, I mean, it's a true testament to how much better our modeling is getting as well.
And if you look at some of the weather patterns we're seeing, not just regionally, not just in the U.S., but globally, it's really fascinating, and we don't know whether it's a one-off type of thing or whether it's the new normal that might become somewhat more commonplace. But we're seeing things you all are, as you look at the various maps and patterns with a much more trained eye. You're seeing things that are just almost mind-blowing.
They really are. To see the whole pattern. Of course, we're in our El Nino pattern right now, so we're seeing much more of a troughiness, if you will, across the U.S. So that further enhances that possibility of us seeing these coastal storms, which typically bring us not only so much snow, but also the strong winds that give us those blizzard conditions. You can see on our live Doppler right now, if you're wondering, when's the snow going to start at my house? Right now it is so cold that the air is so dry that it's going to take a little bit of time to overcome that. But what people need to know is that once the snow starts to fall, it's going to stick, the roads are going to become very slick, and the snowfall intensities are going to be increasing rapidly through the late afternoon and evening hours. 3
inches an hour perhaps at the peak. That is really, that's amazing, and it's scary because those totals are just going to balloon by every measure we have at this point. And thunder snow. With such strong upper level dynamics, we essentially have convection like we have in a summertime, spring, fall thunderstorm. So I think thunder snow is a very real possibility with this storm, and we encourage all of our viewers from the safety of their home to connect with us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We want to know what's happening at your house, because we can look at all of the data from the area airports, the observatory sites there, but if we can find out how much snow, how high the winds are at your house, that's really helpful for us as meteorologists. And there's no overstating the misery index, if you will, how uncomfortable and dangerous it's going to be for folks to be outside when the snow is high, and the wind is whipping, and you're being smacked in the face with snow, and folks are going to, bundle up as best they can, which decreases their visibility almost completely. I mean, if you can stay home, you really, really, really have to stay home. And, Sharon Baker made a great point earlier. Make sure you're checking on your neighbors, especially the elderly. People are going to be wanting to get out tomorrow, I know, to start shoveling. It's just going to be so difficult. Wind chills as well will be in the single digits and teens. So not only do we have, the worry of that heavy wet snow that people are shoveling, doing it with 40-mile-per-hour winds and heavy 3-inch-an-hour snow rates possibly, but
those wind chills, we have to worry about hypothermia, about frostbite. This, I mean, just on all levels, this system kind of takes the cake.
All right. Well, I know you're going to be busy. The team is going to be busy. We really appreciate you stopping by. We'll be having weather updates throughout the program. So for now, Eileen Whalen, thank you very much. We'll be talking with you again. Good luck over the course of the next 72 hours. And when we return, how to avoid weather-related consumer scams.